Hello there, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad that you could all join me today. I thought it might be fun to create a layout featuring lots of leftovers that I have of my Creative Memories NSD products for 2022. I've got lots of offcuts of papers and stickers, and I don't like waste, so I thought it might be fun to share a layout that I'm creating featuring some of these leftovers. Now this is a premiere video today, which means I'm here with you, and I'd love for you to hit up the chat box. I'd love to chat with you and interact with you. If you have any questions at all, do feel free to ask. I know there's some of you that can't make some of the times for these premiere videos, and that's okay. Do know that once my video is finished for today, it will be posted on my YouTube channel. So even if you want to recreate the layout that I'm making today, you'll know that you can go back onto my YouTube channel and watch the video and follow all of the instructions. So let's get started. Before we get scrapbooking today, there's just one little thing I wanted to share with you, and that is if you checked out my last video on my YouTube channel, it was another Scrap With Me ×3 collaboration video where I'm joining Noreen Smith of Canada and Lauren Hines from the United States, and basically we create a layout featuring the same Creative Memories collection. Now, up until our most recent video, a lot of you, the feedback that we'd been receiving was that you would like to have a PDF guide or written instructions of each of our layouts. And we thought that would be really exciting as well. So we now offer on each of our websites downloadable PDF project guides for each of the videos that you will see from here on in on our YouTube channel. We are hoping to go back and create PDF guides for the first two videos we did as well, but for the video that we premiered a week or so ago, you will find each of our project guides on our website. Now we are also offering a cover sheet so that you can store your PDF project guides into a binder. I'm using, this is just an A4 binder project folder. If you're in Australia, I picked this up at Officeworks. I really like these binders because you've got the clear protective pockets, and I don't need to punch any of my guide at all because the clear sheets just attach into the spine of the folder. And you can also buy refill packs for these folders, so you can store quite a few project guides in your binder. But this is a free download, the cover sheet. It was designed by Lauren, and it features our logo to the front. And there's a second sheet which just has a little bit of information about the three of us. And of course, this is the PDF guide for my last video for the collaboration we did a week ago, which you can see I've just printed out. It's step-by-step instructions and photos as well, very easy to follow. But we thought it would be really handy for those of you who like to store your PDFs, those that like to be organized, to have that cover sheet. So that is a free download. You can find it on my website. It is also on Noreen's and Lauren's, and our project guides are on each of our individual websites for a small fee that you will be able to download and print as well. But without further ado, I think we should get scrapbooking for today. So when I was going through and organizing and tidying up my scrap space, I was looking at all these leftover goodies from the NSD products for Creative Memories and the Garden Friends paper pack, which I loved. And I thought, you know what, there's still some scraps there that we could create a layout with. And I really don't like waste. Sometimes when I have little pieces left over like these, and you know, I've created classes or whatever, I tend to put them away in their storage envelopes, and then I forget about them, and that's really naughty because I think you really should try and use up all of each collection. As you can see, this is all I have left of the yellow from the Garden Friends paper pack. I absolutely love this yellow, and I'm really sad that's all I've got left, so I have to create something with this, as I do this pale gingham. I loved the pale gingham. I tend to have, I've got stacks of green. I don't know why. I like green, but I just tend to not go to green as my first choice. And I think the florals and all the blues, they were so lovely. But I'm going to try and work with these today and create a fun layout. Just scrap our stash, nice and casual. I've got a vague idea in my mind what I'd like to create for you today. We'll see how we go. I also want to create a bit with these guys today. That's the embossed hexagon punch that we had, as well as the Honeycomb border maker cartridge, because I just haven't given these guys enough love. So I'm going to work with those today as well. But what I think I'm going to do to start with, I've still got some cardstock here. I think I'd actually like to create some borders to go on a background, and I think I'm going to work with all these yummy papers that I love. The florals, green. Just can't. I don't know why. What's wrong with green? There's nothing wrong with green. I might work with. Oh, there's a blue there, dark blue. So yeah, we might do something with these and create some borders. So I'll bring in my 12-inch trimmer, and I've got some white cardstock that I'm going to use as my background, and I think I'll trim it to about 2.5 inches wide. It'll probably end up a little wider than that because I think I'm going to add some of the honeycomb border in behind it. But I think we'll start with 2.5 inches wide. Like I said, this is very casual today. If you follow my paper adventures, you know I'm usually very organized, but I just wanted to have something low-key and fun for you all today. So I think these will be, I'm going to do a 2-page layout, and I think we'll work with these as our border. And I'm going to just punch a heap of these hexagon shapes with my punch and my beloved yellow paper. And we're just going to punch a whole heap of these hexagons. I'm not sure if you can see it if I bring that up to the camera, but you can just see that there's just a really light, lovely embossing to each of those hexagons. Oh, I went a bit too close for that one. Just trying to get as many as I can from my punch. Ooh, just made that one. Turn this over. I've seen some wonderful ways that lots of you have been working with this hexagon punch, and I was busting to receive it. I couldn't wait for it to arrive, and this, I'm ashamed to say, is my first project with it. So as I said, it deserves some love, so that's why I wanted to do a little video today featuring these tools. Well, that one's not going to fit, but you know what? I'm going to keep these because I will be cutting some of them down. So it doesn't matter for those ones that they're not a full hexagon, because I will use them. When you thought I was being really rough and ready there. Well, I was, but there we go. So we'll keep them aside. And final one. Oh, goodbye yellow paper. That's it, guys. I'm done. So I'll keep our little off-cut guys together, and we'll just keep our other hexagons there. And then just the same thing with all these other papers. I'm just going to punch a heap. And you know what? You know what's probably going to happen? I'm probably actually going to punch far too many in the end. But that's okay. Oh, it's a funny little guy there. Punch my way all the way along. All right, we might leave it at that. We can always punch more hexagons if we need to. I'm going to just bring in one of these border strips, and basically I'm just going to, like a jigsaw puzzle I guess, just piece each of these hexagons onto the border piece or the border background, and I do want to see a little bit of that white background, so I might actually bring in a pencil as a guide. So I'll just start by adhering, and this is all by eye. I'm not doing anything spectacular in the way of measurements for where I want these to be placed, so you know, it may not be perfect, but that's okay. So I'm just going to use my pencil. Actually, I'll use one of my wonky hexagons that I didn't cut properly, or they ran over the edge, and I'm just going to use my pencil and just mark where I'd like to cut that. So I'll just run my scissors through my hexagon and then adhere that into place like so. All right, we'll go, obviously center strip's going to be a lot easier, so we'll use our full hexagon. Just need to move that one. I know this probably looks really fiddly and time consuming, but it will come together quite quickly. So I want to add, I don't have a, just do the same over here, and I'm just marking just a few millimeters away from the edge of my border for where I want to cut my hexagon, like so. Because I want to be able to see some of the white. Alrighty, that's looking cool. Cut this one away, and if you have any leftover pencil on your hexagons, you can just use your eraser once you're done. So this will take a little while, but I'm just going to continue making my way up each border. So you can see there, as again, it's being done completely by eye, so it's not going to be perfect in your spacing, but just as neat as you possibly can. And I might pop another gingham, and I'm just alternating where I think I'd like those colours to blend. Cut that away again. I love this punch, I've decided. I think this is going to be a favourite. Beautiful. Let's keep making our way up. Okay, so I finished making my way along the border, and I think that's turned out super cute. My spacing may not be perfect, but you know, it's pretty close. And just so you know, when I got to the end, can you see these super tiny strips I've added? I nearly didn't, but then I thought, you know what, I think that little white space was going to bother me and my OCD. But I'll leave that up to you. If you're going to recreate these borders too, you may want to pop those little strips in. If you don't, I don't think it'll make too much of a difference, but that's just what suited me. And as you can see, I've still got heaps of my hexagons left over from that original punch, and heaps of the offcuts from where I've cut them down that I kept using too for these little side pieces. So if you do, you know, punch your hexagon and you get a little bit of a, you know, wonky shape like I did because you didn't line it up properly, don't worry, because you will cut them down and use them. So I'm basically just going to go, because I want this to be a 2-page layout. I'm so happy I've got heaps of these hexagons left over. I don't really need to cut too many more, but I'm just going to go, I'm not going to have it identical in placement, but I'm just going to go and recreate a second border exactly the same way. So we've got 2 border strips, and I've still got some hexagons left over of my precious yellow there especially. that I can use. Perhaps we might slot them in somewhere else on this layout. We'll see how we go. I'll just get all that rubbish out of the way. Try and keep my desk tidy as I create. All right, let's see what we've got left over in our papers. We've got that nice beige. Well, we've got the clouds. Let's see, maybe the clouds with some green. Nah, not feeling it. Maybe the honeycomb. Yes, I think this one. I'm just going to bring in a second mat since we're working with a double page layout. I'm just going to add a second cutting mat so I can spread out. I'll just zoom out a little bit so we can fit. All right, so perhaps I think we might add a little bit of contrast in behind these borders, and I might break up the colour. We might add a different paper on the underneath here. I have some of the cardstock left over. I've got the light blue or I've got the royal blue. I think I'll go the light blue. And I'm going to change out my blade. I always go the scallop blade. I just love it. I do use the other blades too, but there's just something about the scallop blade. So basically what I want to do, actually I might turn that blade around. There's no need to cut a full border and waste, you know, an unnecessary amount of cardstock. So I'll just cut some strips, and I want to have the rounded scalloped edge. I'm thinking of placing that behind our border just to have a little frilly edge. Yes, I do like that. All right, we'll do another one for this side. That, and I just need to swap out my scalloped for my straight blade just to trim off a small amount to get rid of that edge because I don't want the arced edge. Okay, swap my blade again. So if you're wondering, I've put in the side that has the writing on this blade. It's going to the right side in my housing bracket, and then I'm just trimming that down so that I've got one straight edge and one curved edge. Flip that over, same deal. And I've trimmed them about 1 inch wide, but again, they don't have to be perfect because oh, I'm running out of space already. They don't have to be perfect because we're going to be, you know, adhering these in behind the border. I just didn't want to waste all of that cardstock. So we can have one there and then one underneath it. And then I think I'm going to add some of the honeycomb behind all of that, some of my honeycomb border maker cartridge. So what we'll do is we'll adhere these into place. I'll just move my papers. So I just want a few millimeters of that curved edge showing. So just so it's got like a lovely lacy or yeah, defined little edge. And again, just allowing a tiny little bit to peep out of the top. Okay, so that has our lovely little frilly edge. So we'll do the same with our second. Just a little bit showing. and the top piece as well. Like so. So we've got our 2 border pieces. Alrighty. Now I do have this dark blue that I think I'm going to use for our Honeycomb border maker cartridge. Okay, so I've got my border maker system. And we'll bring out our cartridge and slot it into the housing bracket till it clicks. I love the border maker system. So many creative ways you can work with it. Slide in our paper. Okay, so I think I'm going to want 4 honeycomb strips, but we'll punch one and have a look, see how it fits, and go from there. So I'm just punching all the way along. I love this border maker cartridge. And we'll just have a little squeeze and see how that's. Yeah, that looks great. So we'll have one top and bottom. So you can see it's going to be a fairly wide border, but that's okay. Lots of lovely little details. So we need to punch another 3 strips of our blue. Okay, and we've got lots of confetti on our desk. All right, so we'll clean this up out of the way. Okay, so we want the honeycomb to be showing just behind our border. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run my adhesive along the top of that back edge. So I don't want to mess up my mats too much with adhesive. And I'm just sort of showing the top, I don't know, top 2/3 of that honeycomb strip. Just make sure I get it as straight as I can. Yes, that looks good. And we'll do the same for the base. Try and get it nice and straight. Align that on my cutting mat. And we want just the bottom 1/3 was straight. There we go. So that creates our border. So we'll do the same for this second. And then I want these to be towards the bottom of the page. Like so. Now I'd like to embellish the top of one of these. Alright, so I've brought in my heart cutting template. This is the large one with the hexagon center, and I've got the royal blue cardstock, and I'm just going to cut one hexagon with my red blade. So lining that up on the center track. Just carefully taking my time. Cut my shape. So I've got one there. And I'm still feeling like I want to break up this paper a little bit and add a little bit of extra colour. So I'm looking at what I've got left over. Not that I'm getting sidetracked from my borders here, but it's going to affect what colour I place in the middle of that large hexagon. So I'm looking at bringing in, I've got quite a bit of this checkered paper. So I'm just going to measure the width of what that border is. That's at 4 inches wide. So I'm thinking I might cut 2 5-inch wide pieces of this stripe paper. Okay, so we have our 2 strips there. It's all coming together nicely. Yeah, I like that better. So we're going to add check to the base there, like so. So now the question is, do we want to add our border to the middle of that strip, or do we want to have it sort of up higher through the center more? Well, I think what I'll do, I think I'm going to go with it on the base. I think that's more striking. So that can bring in our hexagon here. And I think I'll cut the second hexagon from my beloved gingham paper. Again, I'll just lift that out of the way. And this time I'm going to use the green blade. Which will cut our second sized hexagon that we can adhere over the top like so. Okay. So we'll adhere that to the base of our page and we'll put our border in place. Like so. We'll do the same with our second here. I love all those colours together, they look great. And we'll adhere our page in place here. Now let's bring these back together so I can get my border nice and even. Okay, that's come together nicely. This is going to be our a little bit of interest there. Now the next thing I just want to do is start thinking about photos. And as I've shared many times, I have just some templates that I've cut from cardstock of photo sizes that I like to use. But it just helps me visualize where I want, you know, my photos to sit on the layout before I go cutting into, you know, photo mats, or I'm trying to plan out how I all want it to look. So I could have the photos mirrored so that they're the same, like so. So that would fit 4 6x4 photos and 2 4x4, and I think that works nicely. Okay, so I still had a few of the die cuts from the mini embellishment pack left over. So what I'm going to do, just with some foam squares, is I'm going to adhere my larger hexagon in place. Down on this side. And I'm just going to add, I think I really like this little, if I can pick it up, this little blissful title. And I love this flower. And then I've got a couple of the little leaves that we could tag in behind or up the top there even. Yes, that looks cute. So there's our little main title. So we'll get them adhered into place. And I'm going to use probably a little bit more foam tape on that blissful title, just for that little bit of extra dimension. Yeah, that looks good. So a couple of foam squares, my favourites. So that's added a sweet little title to our page. I also still have, believe it or not, a full sticker sheet from the project recipe kit. So I think I'm going to, of course, add a few little cute bees as well. Add that to the top of the title there. It's very cute. Alright, so what I need to do is to cut my photo mats. So we need 4 6x4 photo mats and 2 4x4 photo mats. So there's one. Make this 6x4. 6x4. Alrighty. So we can begin placing our photos. We're on the home stretch, guys. Okay. Fantastic. So we'll get these adhered into place, and then I'm going to add probably just a few more little embellishments to my page because I can't help myself. There's always room for one more sticker. I will show you the sizes I'm going to cut my photos for this page, for these pages I should say. Overlapping just that little bit, and then I'm just going to do mirror image placement on this side of my layout, making sure I've got my pages all lined up neat. One there. You could rearrange these photo placements to whatever suits your photos too. You don't have to do the exact same as what I've done here. And one final there. So now brings us to our photo sizes. I haven't got photos printed at the moment, so I'll just use some white cardstock. For our 6x4 photo mats, it just means I'm going to trim our photos to 3.75 by 5.75. So it's just the slightest slither off your photos. I'll just show you. And you can see there it just gives you a lovely neat edged border. So again, 3.75 by 5.75, and that will work perfectly. And you don't have to mat your photos, of course. That's personal choice, but I like to have that little border around my photos. So with our 4x4 photo mat, that just means our photos are going to be trimmed at 3.75 by 3.75 square. And you can see there that that works perfectly to give us a neat edged border. All right, so here's the thing. In just looking through my leftovers, I found one laser cut border left. So I'm thinking perhaps that deserves to go over the top of our right side border there. So I'm actually going to add that with some foam adhesive just to keep that in balance with our other little neat cluster here to the left. I'm just going to add some little squares down along these smaller areas. How cute were these laser cut borders? They're so sweet. And since I'm really to the tail end of my papers, I do so want to be able to use this border, so I thought let's include it onto this side of our layout. So we've added that there. By using the foam squares, it just keeps it in a nice dimensional balance with our little cluster over here. And I've still got heaps and heaps of these stickers. So I'm actually thinking let's add our kite. I don't want to over embellish. Who, me? Would I do that? Yes, I would. Every single time. Might add our little kite here to the side. I can't go past these cute little title stickers here. Happy memories. Happy memories. Let's pop a bee. So here I go. Over embellish. Let's pop a bee up here. Just a little bee. And I want to put something in here too. Do I need an extra flower? Of course I do. Of course I do. There you go. Perfect. I'm going to stop. We're done. Look at that. So out of all of my little scraps and leftover pieces, that's what we've been able to achieve today. So now all I need to go in and do is, of course, print my photos, but that's all complete. So there we have our double page layout all completed, and I'm a happy girl because I've used up more of the papers that I had left over. Thank you so much for joining me today. Feel free to check out the links below this video, and I will see you very soon. Bye.